Selecting an insurance provider for your business is a big decision.
We know how important your company is to the community.
Alford & Associates can manage your insurance. It's our job.
Alford & Associates, benefiting your employees and protecting your business.
Welcome to Louisiana and beyond. Tonight, we're exploring subjects that are quite important to the residents of our Gulf Coast: FEMA and flood insurance.
And we'll hear from some of the local coastal experts on this sometimes controversial matter: Duane Bourgeois, Angela Hidalgo, Gordy Dove, and Mitch Marmande.
And in our sponsor segment tonight, we'll learn more from Corey Keefe about Crosby Tugs, one of the industry leaders in our area.
Plus, additional flood insurance perspectives from Senator Mike Fazy, Tony Alford, and Nick Mathern.
Up next, you'll learn more about these subjects from these local experts, keeping our coast strong. Stay with us.
Louisiana and Beyond is brought to you in part by Edison Schwest Offshore, Bollinger Shipyards, Crosby Tugs LLC, Grand Isle Shipyard, Nichols State University, and Sea Level Construction.
Edison Schwest Offshore is more than a fleet. We're an interconnected network of vessels, logistics hubs, and a fast-growing workforce of over 19,000 dedicated professionals across the globe. From the United States to Brazil and the Middle East to Southeast Asia, Schwest provides cutting-edge solutions to a worldwide community. And in the face of evolving demands across the industry, we are committed to operating as the best in the world.
When it comes to marine towing, Crosby Tugs has over 40 years of experience. We have the know-how to safely assist ships into and out of their berths, escort oil tankers quickly and safely, tow ships, respond to fuel spills, and work in extreme conditions. Founded in 1977 by Vinton and Kurt Crosby, we are one of the largest privately owned marine transportation businesses in the industry. If it's on the water, let Crosby be your transporter.
At GIS, putting people first has always been our thing. As we always say, our people are our most important assets. With over 20 office locations, we deliver innovative solutions across 4 key markets: energy, industrial, infrastructure, and power. Our 4 main service groups house over 20 service capabilities, supporting projects from start to finish. We're proud of our legacy and even more excited about what's ahead.
Welcome to Bollinger Shipyards. For nearly a century, our family of skilled shipbuilders has driven innovation and excellence, creating some of the world's most advanced vessels. Today, we are at the forefront of our industry and redefining the future of naval warfare. At Bollinger, we turn challenges into opportunities and careers into legacies. Here, you're part of something bigger. Any yard can build a ship. We don't just build ships. Together, we're building the future.
In a world where you can choose to be anything, who do you choose to be? At Nichols State University, with over 70 distinct degree programs, we believe our students can be anything. Be an artist, a chef, a journalist, an educator, a lifesaver. But no matter what you choose to be a colonel. Be more at Nichols State University.
Welcome back to Louisiana and Beyond. Tonight, subjects that our local residents have a strong opinion on: FEMA and flood insurance.
That's right, Martin, and why not start with the local coastal expert who most agree is probably the state's leading expert on those matters, the executive director of the North Lafourche Levee District, Duane Bourgeois.
When you talk FEMA right now, you really have to look at it from 3 perspectives. You have to look at it as mapping because they produce flood insurance. Well, they were formerly called flood insurance rate maps. They don't have anything to do with the rates anymore. They flood insurance requirement maps, it would be the right way to say a firm nowadays. That impacts us from abilities to bill, because to buy flood insurance, you have to, as a community, have to adopt these maps. So that's one channel that's very important to us. The second one is the actual insurance, the rates that we're paying for flood insurance, and the recognition of the things that we have on the ground, and the new moving into the private sector back into this, I should say. And then the third channel is the recovery side. Right, and that seems to be where DC has its focus right now, right, on that side of FEMA. Largely, I would say President Trump has a hammer and FEMA looks like a nail, right? And so, but they're focusing more there than the other two categories that I've talked about, right? And where it really cuts us the most, I mean, we know the maps are something we're working on. We've been working on revised maps since 2008 in Lafourche Parish, and I think similar time frame. That's all in a halt stop right now, not just because the government shut down, but because they quit funding some of those things. And I can't tell you where the maps are going to go. We have been working, and I think that group, we're actually working out of Denton, Texas, Region 6. We've been up there a lot. They've been down here a lot. They're trying to get it right. We can talk about recovery, but that's the whole different thing.
The federal government won't recognize our levee system as it stands now because it's not the federally authorized 2035 level of 100-year protection. That's a lot of words, but basically that means it's not built high enough to withstand a 100-year storm or a 1% storm. So until that happens, the way that the FEMA insurance is structured now, they're never going to recognize that. So it's almost like they're accounting and charging you if there was nothing out there, which we all know is not true. Now, there are some powers that be that are trying to do FEMA reform for flood insurance, and you hear a lot about FEMA risk rating 2.0 and how the federal government assesses your risk with relation to your proximity to water. That really doesn't apply here because in Terrebonne Parish in southern Louisiana, we all know the closer you are to a bayou, the higher your elevation is because you're on the ridge, right? Mm-hmm. That's not the same way in Ohio. The closer you are to water, the lower your elevation is. This is completely different terrain. So all these things make a difference and matter. And there's a lot of people, you'll hear Duane Bourgeois talk about this. He'll tell you all about FEMA reform, insurance reform, and risk rating 2.0. There's a lot of different people that are fighting this policy change. And I think that we'll see it. It's going to happen soon. I think this administration is really keen on making those major changes. So hopefully that'll happen where in the near future where we can actually realize some insurance, benefits from all the infrastructure we did put on the ground.
We have a great delegation in Washington, as y'all well know. We we have Speaker of the House, we got the majority whip, and plus the two senators and everyone we've got there. I mean, it's time that everyone's pushing to get President Trump to do away with 2.0 to start with, and then tackle our problem of this flood insurance. Nobody can afford it anymore. Unless people the working people cannot afford flood insurance. FEMA has to be overhauled, and remember that's all administratively. I went to Washington and all on this. All it takes is FEMA could stop 2.0 tomorrow. It's all administrative. It's not congressionally authorized or mandated. So that's what's the irony of this is they will not fix flood insurance. And it takes the feds to do it. You can't do it you can get up on a podium all day long and say you want to fix it, and everybody wants to fix it. But it takes Congress and actually the President of the United States. So we hopefully President Trump will do that in his term.
I mean, that's the only reason to certify the system, right? Is to reduce your insurance exposure. So that's the intention of the project. But I say what we're doing right now has reduced that exposure. And in a free market, it should be reflected in what people are paying for insurance. We didn't have flood claims for Ida. That should be acknowledged. I mean, it was a very intense, powerful Category 3, Category 4 storm that hit Terrebonne Parish, and we didn't have those flooding issues. So
you know, we have been fighting for years to get the things that we have done recognized in this. Now the, you know, Congress hasn't really played along with us right now. They don't really evaluate us based off of what our risk is due to features like levees and floodgates. Now they've come up with a new formula, and that's why rates are where they are. So I don't know how it will eventually affect what's going on, but I am hoping that our leaders can come up with something that gives some relief. You know, I live in an area in Houma that has never flooded, and my insurance rates are scaling up to be the highest flood insurance and really, you know, anywhere around here. And it's just not, it's not doable. I mean, it's going to devalue homes in this area, and something needs to be done about it.
And coming up later in the program, Senator Mike Fazee, Tony Alford, and Nick Mathern add their opinions on the rising cost of flood insurance in our area.
And coming up after the break, we'll talk with Corey Keefe with Crosby Tugs, one of the key players in keeping South Louisiana moving. Stay with us.
Welcome to Bollinger Shipyards. For nearly a century, our family of skilled shipbuilders has driven innovation and excellence, creating some of the world's most advanced vessels. Today, we are at the forefront of our industry and redefining the future of naval warfare. At Bollinger, we turn challenges into opportunities and careers into legacies. Here, you're part of something bigger. Any yard can build a ship. We don't just build ships. Together, we're building the future.
Sea Level Construction is a heavy civil contractor that provides turnkey services for the industrial and marine industries. From building large-scale infrastructure to installing the foundation for expansion projects, Sea Level and its family of companies offer a wide range of capabilities including driven piles, drilled deep foundations, structural fabrication, structural concrete, marine construction, barge maintenance and repair, site work development, heavy equipment repair services, and electrical services. Call Sea Level Construction to set the foundations for your next big project.
Edison Schwest Offshore is more than a fleet. We're an interconnected network of vessels, logistics hubs, and a fast-growing workforce of over 19,000 dedicated professionals across the globe. From the United States to Brazil and the Middle East to Southeast Asia, Schwest provides cutting-edge solutions to a worldwide community. And in the face of evolving demands across the industry, we are committed to operating as the best in the world.
At GIS, putting people first has always been our thing. As we always say, our people are our most important assets. With over 20 office locations, we deliver innovative solutions across 4 key markets: energy, industrial, infrastructure, and power. Our 4 main service groups house over 20 service capabilities, supporting projects from start to finish. We're proud of our legacy and even more excited about what's ahead.
When it comes to marine towing, Crosby Tugs has over 40 years of experience. We have the know-how to safely assist ships into and out of their berths, escort oil tankers quickly and safely, tow ships, respond to fuel spills, and work in extreme conditions. Founded in 1977 by Vinton and Kurt Crosby, we are one of the largest privately owned marine transportation businesses in the industry. If it's on the water, let Crosby be your transporter.
Now we turn our focus to one of our locally owned companies that began with a single tugboat, but now has a large and diverse fleet. Crosby Tugs has successfully invested in the people, equipment, and capabilities that keep the region moving.
And Crosby's Director of Business Development, Corey Keefe, talks about the importance to our area and the industry of the necessity of a national energy policy.
What I think that the future looks like for us over here all depends on what's going to go on in the energy sector of this country. You know, as the administration changes, we're having a hard time getting an energy policy for this nation. An energy policy for this nation is so disjointed that it's not funny. The U.S. is not a good place to make investments into the energy sector because We can't develop an energy policy that has any substantiation. Look, we're competing for assets, drilling rigs, marine equipment, people. We're competing with countries like China that has a 100-year energy program, with the countries out of the Middle East that are contracting goods and services and people for years, 5 years, 10 years. They have legs on their energy programs. And over here in the U.S., as the administration changes, that changes. So if you're standing from an investment standpoint, where would you go spend your money? All right. Well, we got to base our growth on that, and we have to depend on all the developers and the owners and operators of oil and gas, wind and solar, nuclear, hydrogen, whatever, to support what we do. It's all about marine transportation, right? If these things don't come together right, well, then it's a huge problem. What I see us moving into the future in is that there's a lot of development right now of facilities in the U.S., LNG facilities, natural gas producing plants, refineries and all that need upgrading, or some new ones need to be built. And there's a lot of modules that are built all over the world that get delivered that require marine transportation. So when you look at all these things, it's changed a lot from, it's not your grandpa's oil field no more. It's all about the energy sector in general. One day, and I say this all the time, there's a lot of resistance against renewable energy on wind and all of that. This is like finding out that someone's pregnant. The baby's coming whether you like it or not. And the renewable sector is coming. And we should be planning on being more receptive towards the renewable sector. Just as much attention into oil, gas, nuclear, solar. You can't tell me that we're not smart enough to figure out where's the best place to use all these things. Some places work better than others. So, until we get an energy policy that's supportive of what we're doing, it's going to continue to be a struggle. But it's not that it don't exist. It's there. And you just got to be smart about the way you engage yourself going into the future, but we'll be there.
Corey's thoughts on the matter obviously reflect his position with Crosby Tugs, as well as his respective positions with the North Lafourche Conservation Levee and Drainage District, and as president of the Association of Levee Boards of Louisiana.
That's right, Martin, and Corey shares with us how Kurt Crosby encourages his employees to be involved in service to the industry and their local communities that their companies serve.
Well, Crosby's attitude about all of that is this way. He wants to be involved in public service, but he just really don't have time to do it. But he's got enough people working for him that he's happy to see us do this. All right. Well, I'm on the North Lafourche Levee District, but his son-in-law, Brett DeRoche, is on the South Lafourche Levee District, and he works for us too. Joe Caldwell, who was our manager of the dredge division, was on the Port Commission for Terrebonne Parish. So he sees that his understanding of the importance of us being involved in everything that he's doing, that he could keep at arm's distance, because he trusts the people that are doing these things. Now, from what I do, look, I'm constantly pushing for reform in the Gulf of Mexico for drilling and all of that, because I understand that drilling equals production, production equals GOMESA funds equals money spent on coastal protection and restoration. It's a huge circle for me. And he knows that. And he knows that if we don't have all of these things, we don't have a market to market our equipment to. The people who are depending on their job, they don't have a job. And if we don't have the infrastructure to keep them here, they can't live here. So it's a big circle. And you have to have all these things. You have to have some interest in the ports. We have a shipyard in the port. We have all these things. So it's not just hey, look, don't use my time to do that, because he's not like that. He really has given us the latitude to be able to function at doing what we're doing, and expects for us to be able to be involved and expects us to be productive. And I think that you can see with all the stuff being built around us right now that we're not letting them down. So, or letting the people down, or letting anybody down.
It is obvious from Corey Keefe's testimony what makes Crosby Tuggs and its affiliated companies successful. Strong and visionary leadership, trust in their teams, and the freedom to get the job done and support their local communities.
And coming up after the break, we'll hear from Senator Mike Fazee, Tony Alford, and Nick Mathern about the controversy involving FEMA and the skyrocketing cost of flood insurance. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
When it comes to marine towing, Crosby Tuggs has over 40 years of experience. We have the know-how to safely assist ships into and out of their berths, escort oil tankers quickly and safely, tow ships, respond to fuel spills, and work in extreme conditions. Founded in 1977 by Vinton and Kurt Crosby, we are one of the largest privately owned marine transportation businesses in the industry. If it's on the water, let Crosby be your transporter.
Sea Level Construction is a heavy civil contractor that provides turnkey services for the industrial and marine industries. From building large-scale infrastructure to installing the foundation for expansion projects, Sea Level and its family of companies offer a wide range of capabilities including driven piles, drill deep foundations, structural fabrication, structural concrete, marine construction, barge maintenance and repair, site work development, heavy equipment repair services, and electrical services. Call Sea Level Construction to set the foundations for your next big project.
At GIS, putting people first has always been our thing. As we always say, our people are our most important assets. With over 20 office locations, we deliver innovative solutions across 4 key markets: energy, industrial, infrastructure, and power. Our 4 main service groups house over 20 service capabilities, supporting projects from start to finish. We're proud of our legacy and even more excited about what's ahead.
Welcome to Bollinger Shipyards. For nearly a century, our family of skilled shipbuilders has driven innovation and excellence, creating some of the world's most advanced vessels. Today, we are at the forefront of our industry and redefining the future of naval warfare. At Bollinger, we turn challenges into opportunities and careers into legacies. Here, you're part of something bigger. Any yard can build a ship. We don't just build ships. Together, we're building the future.
Edison Schwest Offshore is more than a fleet. We're an interconnected network of vessels, logistics hubs, and a fast-growing workforce of over 19,000 dedicated professionals across the globe. From the United States to Brazil and the Middle East to Southeast Asia, Schwest provides cutting-edge solutions to a worldwide community. And in the face of evolving demands across the industry, we are committed to operating as the best in the world.
Welcome back to Louisiana and beyond. Now we continue with the matter of FEMA and why our area has skyrocketing flood insurance rates.
And in this segment, we'll hear from 3 important coastal leaders: the Executive Director of the South Levee District, the Vice Chair of the Louisiana Senate's Natural Resources Committee, and the Chair of the Governor's Coastal Advisory Commission.
You know, that brings me to thinking of flood insurance and how we're getting railroaded on high rates on flood insurance. So I mean, yeah, we need to educate Congress on flood insurance, because how many floods are having across the nation now with these heavy storms and everything, and most people don't have flood insurance. To me, my famous thing is, even if you're not in a flood zone, you should have to have flood insurance, because that way you spread the risk. Instead of paying $2,000 or $3,000 to the people in a flood zone, it might be cut to $300 or $400 to everybody, and being the fact that they don't know whether they're going to flood or not. Nobody really knows, because, I mean, we're getting 500-year floods every 100 years now in some places.
Let's reward the people that have stepped up and taxed themselves and stop FEMA from having to come in. Think about how ridiculous that is. So you taxed to build a levee, okay? And then if you don't do it, when FEMA comes in, it has to pay billions of dollars. Well, that's your tax dollars too. And we've been able to save all that money. Well, we should get some kind of credit there, right? And then the thank you get is FEMA 2.0, where you got young families that can't afford, the flood insurance and the homeowners and all the other stuff that takes place that is unjust. Terrebonne Parish hadn't flooded in 15 years. Now, you hate to say that because we need help to make sure we don't flood, right? All those pump stations that Gordy put in place to keep the water out, the flood protection we put in place to stop it from coming in. We've got a great system, but that still needs to be improved. But it's unjust to be considered that kind of risk and FEMA not take into account what we've done so far because it's not certified. It's ridiculous.
I think a lot of areas in coastal Louisiana have seen a northward migration just because as time goes on, we have more storms. People tend to get a little scared, wondering, is the next one going to be the one? If you've been living here for decades, especially people who maybe were around for Hurricane Juan, especially in South Lafourche, where we saw 7 feet of water, our levees are so much better than they were in Hurricane Juan. Even the ones who stayed for Ida, we didn't have a single drop of water in homes or businesses from storm surge in Hurricane Ida. It was a horrible wind event. And people had water damage in their house from when their roof blew off and it rained inside. But if flood protection is your concern, we're only getting better. I mean, the South Lafourche levee is a sound levee. Now we're having the Corps of Engineers backing that up with their assessments of our system, showing that we're providing sound flood protection for our residents and businesses for the future. And I would caution people who would say, we got to get out of here because it's just getting worse. Because we know that we're getting better, especially for a young family starting out, maybe a South Lafourche grad who wonders, how can I start a family here? The opportunities that we have because of where we're located geographically in our local economy. You can live in South Lafourche, drive down to Port Fourchon and make a very good living for your family in South Lafourche. And our job is to make sure that your home is protected when you come home at night, right? There's definitely an economic question for homeowners now. Homeowners insurance is on the rise, and I know our governor and his cabinet are tackling that along with the rest of the country. For flood insurance, we've been fighting with FEMA for the past several years, joining up on a lawsuit with the state attorney general, several of the levee districts, and several of the states to file suit against FEMA for the use of their risk rating 2.0 methodology. And people keep asking me, well, how's the lawsuit going? How is FEMA even coming up with these numbers? And the sad answer I have to give everybody is we have no idea. We have no idea where these numbers are coming from. The little bit of information that FEMA has released that they haven't held back, claiming proprietary information, has made zero sense to us. We know that we live on a deltaic plain that was formed by the Mississippi River over thousands and thousands of years. Our highest land is the land that's closest to water. When you look at how FEMA calculates flood risk under risk rating 2.0, they look at how to calculate flood risk for the rest of the country, where rivers cut through rocks and you form river valleys, and so your lowest land is near water. And they look at Louisiana and say, well, the biggest risk of flooding is where you're closest to the water, right? But the opposite is true for us. And so we have to tell that story nationally to show that you can't take how you treat the rest of the country and just blanketly apply that to coastal Louisiana. We know what we face. We know our risk. And so we put our money into protecting ourselves in our levees. The highest land is still going to be closest to the water. So don't be afraid to live close to the water. We've done it for generations. We've lived off the land. We've lived off the water. We've benefited greatly economically because of the economic benefit to our state and our country that Port Fourchon supplies. And the only way to get to Port Fourchon by land is through the South Lafourche levee system. And so we're going to be here for generations to come, building higher and stronger and making sure that people can live here and protect our way of life.
That's it for this episode of Louisiana and Beyond, exploring the controversy of FEMA and the high cost of flood insurance in our state.
And we'll continue next week with more opinions on the matter from Ben Bordelon, Stevie Smith, Keith Guidry, Corey Keefe, and Mayor David Carmardale. We hope you join us. Thanks for watching.
Louisiana and Beyond has been brought to you in part by Edison Schwest Offshore, Bollinger Shipyards, Crosby Tugs LLC, Grand Isle Shipyard, Nichols State University, and Sea Level Construction.